Miniature Market has thousands of board games at discounted prices. Click the direct link below to see all of those discounted games. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. It's Christmas coming right at the end of this weekend, and it's time for Santa to come. But before that, the elves have got to work hard at Santa's Workshop to make all the gifts for the presents. Today we're taking a look at the game Santa's Workshop. This is a second edition from Elf Creek Games, so they've changed a lot from the original edition. This is a worker placement game, both family version and advanced gamer enthusiast version. Let me show you how it plays. I'll talk about how it's different from the original, but I'll also just say if you've never seen that, what this one's like. Let's go. In Santa's Workshop, one of the main ways to get points in the game is to create different presents for the kids. They're going to be worth a certain amount of points, and you're going to need certain goods, like you're going to need wood or metal or fabric, and you're also going to need to assemble them a certain amount, and you're trying to get points mainly by doing this. Now this game has two games, the standard game and the advanced game. The standard game is more like a family game. You get double-sided boards, like this is the green player, this is the red player. They'll have different looking elves on there. And you're going to be using this as your player board to track different things like ornaments on the Christmas tree and your workers, which will go in spots like this. Now here's the family side board, very delightful and bright, and you're going to be playing over 6 rounds. At the end, it's going to be Christmas. At the end of each third round, Santa's going to come inspect the gifts, and you're going to get a certain amount of points depending on how many presents you've finished and how many ornaments you have on your Christmas tree on your player board. Now the game is worker placement, so you're going to place your workers at different spots, like in some of the different shops. This one gets you fabric, which is the purple good. If you're the first player to go here, you'll get 2 fabric. If you're the second player to go here, you're going to get 3 fabric, but each elf that got there before you gets a point. So you're giving red a point, but you're getting an extra fabric, which essentially is kind of like getting an extra point anyway. And this is like if you go third, you're going to get 4, but these 2 players are getting points. That's how the family game works. It's very friendly. It's very positive reinforcement. This is the same type of thing, but for wood. And you have the same thing for the metal shop and the assembly shop. Those all work sort of like the same way. You can go to the Christmas tree. Now the Christmas tree on the board will have lots of different ornaments. They'll have all different colors on there. You'll randomly take one, look at the back of it, and you'll get this. So in this case we get wood. Sometimes it's points, sometimes it's more presents. And so you'll get 1 wood, and then you get to decide what you want. 1 of any good, assembly, 1 of the goods, 3 points. And you're sort of filling up goods here and getting bonuses. Now if you end up taking goods and you can't place them on any presents, like you got too many of them, you can place them on the donation center. You're getting a point for each of those, but you can also, someone can go to the donation center and take as many as they can take, and they fit those on their own presents, trying to finish those. Because again, it's a main way to get points is to be able to fulfill everything. When you get goods, you have to put them on a card. You can't save them for later. You got to decide where they go, and they can't move after that. But once you have everything there, you pass them back in, and you keep this. You get 11 points, for example, and you keep this until Santa comes and inspects how many presents you have a little bit later. And there's also spots to go where you can get more presents to work on. Now you'll also be going to get reindeers. The earlier you go there, the more goods you're going to get. In addition to taking one of these reindeer cards, they're named, but they're also numbered. You're trying to get set collection. However many different numbered reindeers you have at the end of the game is how many points you'll get. Again, at the end of the 3rd and 6th round, you're going to see who has the most presents and ornaments on their tree, and whoever does is going to get 8, 4, 2, or 1 points, depending on whether you're in 1st, 2nd, or 3rd place. Now you're looking at all your completed presents and the ornaments you put on your tree. And at the end of that sort of 6th round, he'll do it again, and whoever has the most points at the family game is the winner. Now the advanced game is more like the original edition, where you have your own board, you have your own elves, but now you can upgrade your elves, you can upgrade equipment. You're going to be using some of this coal in order to spend as energy to create goods. So now when you go to shops, you can choose one of these spots. Spend 1 coal for 2 or 2 coal for 3, but you can always spend an additional coal to get this upgrade token. There's only 1 of these per round in each of the shops, and all these shops sort of work similarly like that. So let's say this was the elf we sent to that shop. We got to upgrade. Now you can put it here, which means when you use this elf again later in the game, if they go to the fabric shop, they're going to get an extra fabric. Now there are small differences as to what the elves are. This one, it's really hard to tell sometimes. The feet are just a little bit different and things like that. This one looks very different. I wish they all looked pretty different. But here, now you can upgrade it. Or you could place it like this and it's going to be worth 2 points at the end of the game. If you basically have 2 upgrades, you're going to get an additional 2 points at the end of the game for that elf. So it's a way of sort of engine building a little bit. But you're also doing resource management because you're going to be spending this coal to get goods. So at some point you're going to run out of coal and you'll go here. If you're there first, you get a point, or you can go here and essentially you fill up all your coal cart. Now, at the beginning of the game, you can only hold 6 of these, but when you're placing goods of wood, if you don't want to place them on your presents, or if you have some leftovers, you can start placing them on here. Once you get 2, you unlock this, and now when you go to the coal, you get more. If you do 4 more wood, you can unlock this, and you have a lot of room for coal. So now when you go get coal, you fill this whole thing up, and if you have both of these unlocked, it's another 4 points at the end of the game. So it can become more efficient. Now that was using extra wood or other wood to do this instead of presents, but you can also do equipment upgrades. So you can spend metal, 2 of 4, or fabric, 2 of 4, to do upgrades. You can upgrade your mining tools. Again, spending 2 of these, and now anytime you go and fill up your coal, you get an additional point. 4 of these, you'll get an additional point, and if you unlock both of them, 4 more points into the game. Here are for reindeer blankets. You're making fabric. Again, putting 2 fabric here, 4 here, and these can be sort of, given over to the course of the rounds. You don't have to do it the same round. And here, when you go and get reindeers, they're going to cost less, and you're going to get 4 points if you unlock both of these. So let's talk about the cost of the reindeers in this version. Now you're still going for set collection here for the different reindeers. However, now they cost. So now they're going to cost, at the beginning of the game, they're going to cost 3 coal. They're going to give you things like 2 fabric, 2 wood, or immediately score a point per elf you've played. So if you did this on your last elf, you'd get 3 points when you get that. As the game goes on, this cost is going to go up, but they're also going to give you better stuff. So you're going to want to build up that engine of coal because the costs are going to be going up. Or the blankets, those reindeer blankets help you reduce the cost as the game goes on as well. Now the Christmas tree works a little different. You go here for a point, or go here to become first player, or you give the first player to somebody else actually. It could be you, but if you already have it, it goes to someone else. You're going to take one of your ornaments. You actually start with your own ornaments this game. You're going to be able to select which one you want. So in this case, I'll get wood, and maybe I put it here and I get a second wood. And so a little bit more strategy as to how you use the tree. But again, when Santa comes, same thing. You're going to be counting how many ornaments you have on the tree plus how many presents you've finished. And now the game, instead of lasting just 6 rounds, lasts 9 rounds, because you really need the longer game in order to pay off on some of this engine building and such. But as you can see, there's a lot more strategy in the advanced version, definitely more for the gamer enthusiasts, but the family game is light, but yet still a lot of fun. And one of the nice touches is after you have finished your gifts and Santa comes in and inspects them and you get points for who had the most, those are going to go into his sleigh. They don't count from at the end of the round to round. And so this nice little sleigh is a nice piece of component as well. All right, well, there is Santa's Workshop. Now, I think this is a great family and gamer enthusiast game. Now, again, this is a reprint, very much more of a re-implementation, okay? Rio Grande did the first version of this. I had that. I really liked it. I've always been a big fan of this game, but seeing that they were coming out with another one, I was super interested. Elf Creek usually does great production. They did here. This game is bright, it's vibrant, it's beautiful. And the fact that they basically added like a great family version of the game and even pretty much changed a lot of the advanced game, which was the standard game before, I believe, is great. Now, it really has a much wider audience now. So let's go into the things that I liked about it. Let's first start with the family game. Even though it's light and easy, I taught this to people that don't typically play a lot of games. And they caught on pretty quick, it was pretty easy, but I enjoyed it too as a gamer enthusiast. I thought it was streamlined, it was fun, it was thematic, it was beautiful. But there's also it's a worker placement game. You're teaching new people how to play worker placement. And the timing of the worker placement was interesting because, if you go there first, you're just gonna get less than what other people go. So you might be like, I need 3 wood. I don't want to go there now. Let's see if other people can go there so I can be a little bit more efficient. But when you do go there like second or third and you get the wood you need, you're giving those other ones points. So it's a trade-off. But I like that you're also thinking of not just points per goods, but also the efficiency of your workers. And it gives you almost like an advanced strategy for a family weight game without ever feeling, overwhelming. I thought it was really fun. And that aspect of giving points to others, it's positive reinforcement. Hey, you go there first, you only get 1 good or whatever. Other people go, you're gonna be getting a bunch of points. It all sort of evens itself out, but it gives a lot of positive reinforcement, which I really like. I also like that they changed hugely in this one that assembly can be done anytime. In the first edition, you had to get everything first and then get the assembly. It made like sort of like a log jam sometimes, where now you can do it and that thematically makes sense, right? Like I'm gonna get some parts and I can assemble parts of those together and while I'm waiting for the other parts to show up to then finish the assembly, right? Thematically, it also makes sense. I like the tension of when Santa's showing up. You're looking at how many presents people have finished. You look at how much you finished. You look at how close they are to finishing other things. You're looking at The ornaments and how many they have of those and how many you have and how many spots are left. And it's like, ooh, I could just spend a work here and get an ornament. That's going to count as one towards Santa, but I'm just kind of getting a couple of these goods. It's not really going to help me further along, but the timing and also the timing of when I'm going to do things. With the tension of Santa showing up, again, feels good for a family game. It's never overwhelming, but it gives the family game a nice sort of bite there, a light bite. I really like that aspect of it. Getting the ornaments is a great addition to this game because it wasn't in the original game. And it really, again, it just gives you another thing to do to kind of like maybe slow play some other things that you're waiting for other people to go to so you can get more of. Really fun. And you know, you're counting both the gifts and the ornaments. I like that. It's very different in this game from the first edition, and it works really well. I like that you're doing set collections for the reindeers, and that you're just trying to get the different ones. They're also numbered to make it easier to read. But again, you can go heavy on that, trying to get that another easy thing to do. I like that the advanced game totally changes the reindeers up. In the original game, they were just like always on the board and they always get the same things. Here, like there's only certain things around each round, but you've got to spend, you know, coal to get them, but you're getting different goods and they cost more as the game goes on, which means you got to build your engine better, but you know, they're giving better things later too. So I really like how they redid the reindeers in this, definitely better than the original as well. Now the donation center, it's only on the family game. Great idea, because a lot of times you might be going somewhere and getting a ton of goods, sometimes more than you need because maybe you went there third, right, or fourth. And you have extra goods, but now if you have extra goods, you can't just keep them for later, but you can put them to the donation center getting a point for those. And then someone else can go to the donation center and get a bunch of that stuff and put it on stuff that they need. Really interesting, brilliant, easy, streamlined way to make it so people don't feel like it's too tight. They're not going to get upset. They're not going to feel like the game is beating them up. Like, there's always stuff you can do. There's just, what are you going to do? You never feel stuck in this game. So it's a great family version. I really like this a lot. Now, on the advanced version, upgrading the elves and the equipment, I really like that. I like that, you know, you can upgrade getting more coal, or you can upgrade every time you get coal, you get a point, or you can upgrade the blankets, making the reindeers cheaper, right? I like that. It all makes sense. It all works well. It all feels good for the length of the game that's there. I like that you could also, you know, when you get the upgrades, you can either put it for what it is. Like if I went to the fabric and I spent the extra coal and I get the fabric upgrade for that elf, I can make that elf like super good at fabric, right? Or I can make him more diverse. He's good at fabric, he's good at wood. Or I could just like give them points. Sometimes you'll get reindeers that are like, hey, flip your upgrades to points. Later in the game, that's great, right? Things like that. So coming into this, I was a little skeptical of, I had looked at this, I'd read the rules, I'd compared and contrasted this to the original before I even got this in my hands. And it looked like all the changes they made were really, seemed like they were gonna be improvements. The one thing they took out, which was the thing I liked the most about the other game, was plastic. You could go and get plastic, they were readily available, they were easy to get, and you could finish your presents faster by using cheaper things, but you'd get less points for them. I love that mechanism in games where you can go, oh, I'm gonna cut some corners, get less points, but get it done. And it was really a huge strategy because you're trying to get presents done for Santa. I was worried that when they pulled that out, it would be a negative thing. It's not. It's actually better, and here's why. Because now you have the ornaments that count towards Santa, as well as your presents. And so they've sort of like taken out like, well, I just have to rush to get this done so I can get them for Santa, because now you can get that done easier, even with just placing a worker, getting two little smaller bonuses, and getting the ornaments. So it's sort of like, it's just, I was worried it was gonna make the game worse, but it's not. The game, in every way, shape, or form, is better than the original. It's got a much wider audience than the original. Now I can play this with different groups. So it's great. The one thing I was worried about, no problem. I don't have a lot negative to say here. It really is a great game for both, again, families or game enthusiasts. I'd say the only complaint I have are the elves themselves. I showed a little bit in the overview where when you upgrade an elf, that's the elf that gets that upgrade in the future times. And some of them, their feet are just a little bit different from the other one. And sometimes it's really hard to tell them apart. It takes you a little bit to do that. I would wish they would have many different, quite different poses. Like some of them have like one with the arms up. Okay, that one's easy to see, but the other two are like super close. I wish the elves looked more different from each other, mainly for the advanced game so you could tell them apart. But other than that, the game is great. If you're looking for a great little holiday game that's good enough that you'll still probably be able to pull this out throughout the year and you'll still have fun with it, and is great for both families, and then when your gamer buddies come over, you can play the advanced game. This really is sort of like the the Swiss Army knife of holiday games. It's excellent, and I definitely recommend you get this around the holidays. I'm putting this review out just before Christmas, and I think the only place you can order it right now is off their website, because they just got in like the pre-orders and things like that. So check out Santa's Workshop. This has been the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships with board games, and helping you on the next one you love. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table into a high-quality gaming solution, but they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with over 20 styles of thematic game mats in 11 different sizes from notable board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and real cool accessories, experience what thousands of other gamers enjoy by upgrading every game you play with a Game Topper system. Save hundreds of dollars on Game Topper package deals that are in stock now for immediate shipping at GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.